Doing the right thing, standing by your principles, standing by what you believe in can be challenging at the best of times. And as many of you know, I have been running a series on Zoom, regular series on training, covering lots and lots of different issues around positive reinforcement training. And some of you will know that it's been really challenging for me over the years. I started many years ago when positive reinforcement was not trendy, was not popular. I brought Shauna Carrick to New Zealand in 2005, and we were still up against it. It was seen as something a little bit quirky and not really relevant if you were a serious equestrian. Goodness, how times have changed. We still have a long way to go, but we're certainly getting some traction. We're seeing lots of questions being raised, not just within the equestrian community, but in the public arena as well, around horse welfare and the use of horses in sport, in racing, and various training methods, the use of equipment. The list goes on and on. And we're all being challenged to assess how we treat our horses, how we train our horses. And I've heard some really interesting discussions around the difference between ethics and welfare, for example. Lots of semantic issues, lots of definition issues. And it reminded me of an experience I had years ago. This whole sort of standing up and speaking out and confronting, in some ways, maybe inadvertently just through sharing your opinion, but you are potentially confronting for other people and what they may be doing or maybe not doing. And does that make it wrong? Does it make it something that you need to hide because you don't want to upset somebody else? And, as I always say, this is so much bigger than just horse training. But the experience I had many years ago was as a judge in a kindy ring at a little local show. And I love working with kids. I'm a teacher, obviously. Had some experience with horses, and yes, so I was asked if I would judge the kindy ring. And my sole aim as a judge in that sort of environment was to ensure that everybody enjoyed the day, enjoyed the experience, and hopefully learnt some real basic show etiquette. And I was having a great time. I was giving feedback, I was chatting to people, and I was very conscious that everyone seemed to be enjoying their day. In the afternoon, it came to jumping, and one little girl and her pony had a mishap. Pony swerved at the jump, little girl rolled off, got a little bit upset. As a teacher, I would have handled it very differently, but obviously parents handle things differently with their children. But it wasn't the way the parents handled the child that upset me. It was the way that somebody handled the pony. And I found myself in a position that I struggled with then. I certainly don't struggle with it now, but I struggled with it then when I was seeing something I didn't like and I was faced with having to speak out. And I did. I said something, it was not taken very well. However, in my position as a judge, my decision was to some degree, I guess, respected with a bit of attitude. And I realized a little while later how absolutely important it was that I was seen to stand up and speak up on behalf of the pony. To this day, I am still friends with somebody who watched the experience and contacted me at a later date, thanking me for taking that stand. Now, at the time it was incredibly painful. I don't deal with conflict particularly well, but at the forefront of my mind was I was in a position of responsibility. I had to be seen to be doing my job, and their pony's welfare was my concern at that point. I think, the learning for me from that experience was stuff what people think about me. I had to make a stand. It wasn't about me. If they didn't like what I said, that was tough. What was important was other people saw me standing up for a welfare issue related to the pony. So I do encourage you, when you see things that are not right, to make a stand, because you never know who's watching. You never know the influence you're having over other people who are then empowered in a way to speak up as well. It's not about having an opinion on something, and I think this is the big difference, and sometimes we do struggle with that. It's what seemed to be right in that moment and in that situation. And for me, it was about the welfare of the pony and me making a stand as a person in a position of responsibility. So yeah, there's a huge topic, huge ramifications, because it's absolutely open season out there right now in social media, looking at issues around horse welfare and what is acceptable and what isn't. And I think the truth of the matter is, we will have differing opinions on the way we keep horses, what we do with them, whether we shoe them, whether we don't, whether we cover them, whether we don't. But there are some fundamentals that at some point somebody has to make a stand, and we have to start being honest with ourselves about, it's not about us and what we want, it's about what's right for the horse. So yeah, challenge yourself. I'm certainly challenging myself with keeping my 2 horses. Where is it? Where do we draw the line? Where does it become like we just turn them free, let them loose? But if we are going to be keeping horses, if we are going to be enjoying them, at what point do we say, yeah, this is for me, but this isn't right for the horse, therefore I need to change what I'm doing? Challenging. Let me know your thoughts. Bye for now, guys.